This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a weekend, and we're here to wrap it up. Wrap up your week.
Yes. Hello, beautiful bell breakers. The first wrap-up of 2023.
Yeah, don't remind me that we just kept putting it off and forgetting and just
I
fucking
wasn't
up
going to
totally.
say anything about that
You're
at
like,
all.
hey, guess what? It's like 3 weeks into January, and this is your first one of the year. Here we are. But yes, we are here for the first time, on the weekend at least.
Yes, great things are worth waiting for sometimes.
They are, and it's not like we've been without great shows, though. We've been
Yes.
putting out some pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty great main episodes. Like we kicked off the year with that Brandon Caserta interview, the guy that was accused of trying to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer.
Yep, that was a great interview.
The biggest problem in all of that is that they didn't pull it off. I
Right.
think.
Yeah,
I think that's
right.
the biggest problem in the whole story is that she wasn't kidnapped.
Yeah, well, you know, the FBI can try again
Well,
later.
we're going to get a knock on our door here pretty soon
Right.
just for saying that. So we're on a list anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We have Shannon in the comments because this is titled they're coming for our stoves. Shannon says, "You take my stove, I'm not cooking anymore." Shannon,
I'm not sure if that's a threat or a promise.
Yes, I don't know how good of cooking you do. It's got to be good, I guess.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
would
it's
think
got to
so.
be.
Yeah.
It's Shannon. It's got to be good. But we are here. We are finally here, wrapping up the week. There's a lot of shit going on in the news. You were like, man, they left it. They were quiet for a couple weeks.
Through Christmas, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Then all of a sudden, just slamming us with the fucking news.
Yeah.
And so we got quite a few things to talk about in
That's
this
good.
weekend wrap-up. Before we get into this, obviously, we got to say, check us out all over social media. If you're listening to this on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook, wherever you're listening to this, there is a like and subscribe button. Let me point that out to you. Go hit the like and subscribe button and share it and all the things. Yeah, it's down there somewhere in that general region. But share it far and wide so we can expand this thing out, reach more and more ears is ideally what we want to do.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening, share it. If you're not listening, share it anyways.
That's right.
Tell somebody who's not listening to share it and then listen yourself. So check out our website. You can find links to all our social medias at www.breakthebellpod.com. And you can find links to our social media. You can find links to our web store. You can buy awesome shirts such as these. We mention them almost every week. The "I Won't Eat Your Bug" shirt, which I mean, this is going to be big, guys. I know people don't believe that they're trying to make us eat bugs, but
It's
they are
coming.
trying. And so you got to get ahead of the game with this shirt. This "I Won't Eat Your Bug" shirt. There's also the "We Are Not Your Pawn" shirt. Some logo stuff, some mugs, some T-shirts, all kinds. I think there's even stickers on it, if I remember
Really?
correctly.
Nice.
I haven't checked it out in a while. Maybe I should check it out myself. But that's all that can be found at breakthebellpod.com, or you can find the store at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Check it out. Buy our shit. Support us a little bit, and wear awesome merch because
Absolutely. It's the way to go.
because you're awesome, and we're awesome, and we can be awesome together. I'm ready to get right into the news because we've got a lot of things to
Yeah,
cover,
let's do
so
it.
we might as well just kick it off. And first and foremost, I know you said we don't need to talk about this, but I think we need to bring
Okay.
this chick up just because. Not going to get into a story, but
Yeah.
this is the face that broke the internet this week. So, I mean, we can't not talk about it.
Yes.
So this female police officer, I'm not going to disrespect her in any way. It's to each their own. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the worst thing she has going for her is she's a fucking police officer in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
There's probably plenty of avenues of work that she should be working or could be working. I don't necessarily think should be
Avenues
working
or
in, but
corners?
yeah, exactly. So this face here is the face of a female police officer that was fired along with 4 or 5 other colleagues for like having workplace affairs, like
fraternizing. Is that a proper way
I
to...
guess we'll say fraternizing.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the nice way of saying it. She was banging a bunch of other dudes
right.
in the police force, whether it be going and sneaking off to hotels. There was reports that they were doing it in the police station while on duty. Wow. I guess that's the one fireable thing of all of the things that they should be fired for. I don't think like the off hours necessarily. I think people should just stay out of your fucking business off hours. But maybe banging in the police offices that might be justified.
Maybe like I don't know. I mean, it's not like they were like ignoring 911 calls, right?
Do you know that though?
No, I don't know that. I don't know that.
911. Please hold. Somebody's dying as she's. Now this one was kind of. It was just. It was weird. It was a weird situation because she has an open marriage, according to her. Okay. Her husband says he wasn't so much on board with it. Now, I feel like to have an open marriage, both have to be on board with it because if they're not, then it's not an open marriage.
Yeah, she maybe it was open, like, you know, usually there's strict rules, you know, like, oh, you know, I gotta know about him or whatever, and maybe she didn't mention to him that it was half the force.
I think it was more like he wasn't on board with it at all.
Oh, okay.
But there was stories where, like, this male officer came to her house with another female and exposed his genitals is all he admitted to doing during it. There was weird threesomes and stuff amongst, like, the wives and stuff. I mean, it's just a big fuck fest, I guess.
That's what it sounds like.
And this made national coverage. Yeah. And so you said we don't need to talk about it. I said I don't know why this is national news.
Right.
I mean, this is probably going on in every single police
like we
force.
talked about it. It probably is going on much more common than what anybody's talking about.
But this comes out, and like, why is this? Like, we're talking about it, obviously, but we're only talking about it because everybody's fucking talking about it. It's like, why does the national media coverage feel like this is the important thing? It's like some female police officer was banging the entire police force. It's like, okay,
yeah,
all right. I mean, good for her, bad
she
for her.
Gets
I don't
fired.
know.
She starts an OnlyFans.
Gets
a couple of sex tape deals.
Yeah, they just promoted the shit out of her OnlyFans.
Free promotion for her.
Yeah, just like my face is Hey, you remember that chick that was on the news last month for banging? That's me. Go subscribe to my OnlyFans page. Yeah. So you just probably did her a favor. She's like, I just got a nice bump in subscribers. So that's all I really had to say about her. I just wanted to bring up that everybody's talking about it. And I don't know. To each their own, I guess. Yeah. Shannon says Bill's strict open marriage rules. Bill had... Well, we won't talk about Bill's open marriage rules on here. That's for the bonus content. Yes. But Bill gets really in depth with his open marriage rules in the bonus content. So subscribe to our Patreon account to hear Bill's open marriage rules. I don't know. I don't want to know, Bill. I don't know. You record that on your own time. So
check out my OnlyFans.
It's all shoulder pics. That's all it is. Now, there was another one that I didn't bring up to you. I wanted you to take a look at this image. I don't know if can you see that from there? Here, let me pull it up on the screen. This is a new statue unveiled in Boston, I think it was.
Okay.
I don't what is this?
It kind of looks like somebody crying while somebody consoles them,
now,
but I can't see what the hell's his head.
Okay, so from what a lot of people, like local people, are saying from this, and you're going to see it immediately, it looks like 2 arms cradling a giant, massive black dick from this angle.
Okay, I saw a meme for this as well.
Can you see
that? Yes, I didn't see it from this angle. So I had seen a meme. It was Martin Luther King saying, "I have a dream," and then this popped up, and he goes, "No, not like that."
That kind of dream. Now this is the actual. Like, nope, that's not it. This is like from the other angle where it's two arms.
Okay.
It's like abstract. It's
Yeah.
two arms hugging and like interwrapping. There's no head,
Gotcha.
no body. It's just
Okay.
two.
All
But
right.
from the one angle,
Yes.
if I could very clearly see where they're like two,
Okay.
two black hands holding a big black dick.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
if you're gonna be abstract, make sure all angles of it are
good.
very
Yes.
easily like identifiable. I mean, just a lesson in abstract art. I mean, go back to whatever like liberal arts class you
Right.
took and
work on angles.
like yeah, please work on your angles. Now I don't have a story for this either. I just know this was unveiled. Martin Luther King III
Okay.
signed off on it. He was okay with
Okay.
this. So I guess it's okay because he signed off on it. All right, we had to get that shit out of the way before we get into the real stuff. Speaking of assholes, I don't know. Let's talk about Dan Crenshaw. We don't talk about
Yes.
the
He's
one-eyed
the Nick
pirate much.
Fury of the Texas Republican Senate, right?
What's your opinion of Dan Crenshaw?
I feel like he's a veteran, so I appreciate him in that respect. But I feel like he's kind of a Republican, typical Republican Texan that just he's out there, man.
He shoots from the hip.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your typical like George Bush cowboy.
Well, his
Republican.
latest one-eye cowboy harebrained idea was we need to give military authority to combat the Mexican drug cartel. So we
That
need
sounds
to
horrible.
involve our military. We need to go to war with the cartels.
Again, like not an actual drug war, but a war with
Like
the cartels.
literally go to war
Yes.
with the cartels. Now, I don't know. I tried to find the videos. I had seen a video last week or a week or two ago of Mexico's government at literal war with the drug cartels, and it was like literal airstrikes, like
Oh, no
like
shit.
warthog type airstrikes. Like it was a war zone in Mexico a couple weeks ago against the cartels. It's like, do we want that?
Well-
I mean, I guess. No, I don't want that.
No,
No,
well, okay.
I thought there might be some kind of
Yeah.
reasoning, but then no, there's none.
I feel like that when you have an issue. All right, first of all, again, open borders, basically, right?
Open borders, like the police officers' open marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not okay with it. Like her husband wasn't.
Exactly, but still, people are exposing themselves over here. And so, also, it's like with all the, you don't know, I mean, how many cartel people are over here. You don't know what positions they have. I mean, we talked a couple years ago that, I think that they had cartel people in the military down at Fort Hood.
I'm
And-
currently rewatching Breaking Bad,
Okay.
and I know that it's bad to go to war against the cartel based on, I mean, I just watched an episode where they're like, have you been to El Paso, Texas? The cartel literally decorates with people's heads.
Right,
It's not-
yeah.
And they're not that, it's not that dramatized either.
Yeah, I mean, how do you go to war with a cartel? I mean, somebody who has some seemingly limited resources. You don't know who's working for them. I mean, they got people everywhere. I mean, it's much more organized than our United States government.
So let's see what old one-eye pirate Dan Crenshaw has
All
to
right,
say.
let's hear what
It says two
Crenshaw-
Republican lawmakers introduced a joint resolution to give President Biden the military authority to combat transnational cartels, not just Mexican cartels,
Oh,
but
transnational.
transnational cartels smuggling fentanyl into the United States. Representatives Dan Crenshaw of Texas and Michael Waltz of Florida, of course those two states, introduced a joint resolution authorizing Biden to use military force to combat cartels pumping fentanyl and other similar dangerous substances across the border. Crenshaw, the architect of the bill last Congress, told Fox News Digital that the cartels are responsible for about 360,000 homicides this year in Mexico, and they are militaristic in nature, mirroring an all-out civil war in many cases. Now, here's the issue I have there.
Mexico.
That's in Mexico. I
Right.
don't care about Mexico's civil war.
Now,
I don't. Look, just like Ukraine, just like whatever other country we throw our fucking
Yeah.
troops into for their civil. No. Yes,
Yeah.
this one is closer to our border, and there are seemingly drugs coming across the borders, but it sounds like it's like, there's a wide open range, like cowboy terms, like open range of untapped war possibilities that we're not
Just so
we're not-
close to home.
Yeah, it's right there. We don't even have to fly them overseas. I mean, we could just send them just south of, like, next door pretty much, and we have a war right there. Why are we paying for wars over there? Don't stop paying for those wars over there, obviously, but we have another one we could be fighting over here.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe, though, that maybe there's an agenda here?
Yes. Yes,
No,
there
I
is
mean,
an
as far
agenda.
as, like, okay, if we can declare war, like, maybe they would have to close the border or something? I mean...
Yeah, there's something there because, like, my thought process is, why would Biden authorize that when isn't he, like, bringing down, like, border patrol?
Right. Yeah,
like he's
exactly.
like decreasing border patrol, but let's authorize the military instead.
Right.
That seems like an ideal situation there. Let's not guard the border, but let's send our military over the border.
Right.
Now, how does Mexico respond when we start stacking troops up on the border and over the border and
Right?
whatever?
Didn't we just see that with Ukraine, as you said?
Exactly. Says the Texas Republican also said the same level of cooperation America saw with the Colombian government under former President Clinton isn't being mirrored by Mexico to the extent it needs to, and that the big difference between that situation and today's is the fentanyl factor. What we've been dealing with for a while now, and nobody wants to talk about it much, is potentially failed narco-terrorist state at our border. So he's basically calling Mexico a failed terrorist state, basically, is what it sounds. A potentially failed narco-terrorist state at our border.
Interesting.
And when you have 80,000 Americans a year dying from fentanyl overdose, and oftentimes not even knowing they were taking fentanyl, that to me is active hostilities against the American people. Crenshaw said he did not believe the Mexican government's claim that the son of El Chapo's arrest was not related to President Biden's visit, and that the U.S. needs to pressure them to do more. They can do more. Under President Trump, they were shown that they would do more if we leverage them. And this is some pretty serious leverage. What, like threatening to send troops into Mexico?
Yeah.
You don't want to do it? We'll send our military in.
We'll take over, and we won't leave until the cartels are gone.
Shannon says, hey, stop hating on Florida. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shannon. I'm sorry that you're in Florida, first and foremost. And I'm sorry. I mean, you're right there. Retirement's right around the corner. I shouldn't have gone.
Damn.
Never mind. Just
Wow.
kidding.
Wow.
Shannon. I love you. Says the congressman also said that the joint resolution is not some messaging bill and is a very serious conversation about what needs to be done to address the threat. So he's not posturing. He literally thinks we need to send troops to Mexico.
I think that's really dumb.
Why? Why? Explain.
All right. I think it's dumb because, number one, all right, like we need to start putting money into another war. We're putting enough into Ukraine, right?
Well, but it's working so well in Ukraine, so might as well.
Of course, right? I mean, we are prolonging that much more than we need to. So, yes, that is working.
Now, if we go to war on our border, do those nations send us money in tanks and shit then? Is that how that works?
No, because we'll end up sending them money to make repairs for all the shit we blow up.
That's fair.
So, but I mean, it's not like it's 163 American heads showing up in the middle of, say, Kansas, right?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will be if we decide to go this way. I mean, I would just think there's got to be a smarter way to
Than
combat.
war?
Yes, smarter way than war.
I don't know. Maybe step up the border patrol starting there.
Yeah.
Because if we're not willing to step up our own border patrol, what's the whole fucking point of sending troops?
All right, absolutely, and that's the thing. It's like, you can't. You can't. What is it? You can't stop a leak without plugging the hole or something. I mean, it's just.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sounds
that sounds like a
smart.
very George Bushian
Can't stop
wisdom
a leak
without plugging a hole.
without plugging that hole, without plugging the leak that the hole started.
Because the hole began the leak.
Don't start your leaks that you can't plug your holes,
Yes.
said that female police officer. Oh, God. Let's move on.
Just keeps giving.
Speaking of harebrained, stupid ideas on wars, on things we shouldn't have anything to do with and don't need to be fighting wars on, the latest method of fighting the war on climate change is to ban gas stoves.
Yes.
Because gas stoves are the problem.
Yes, they've been around for how long? And I mean,
a long time.
I had one in my old house, and I loved it.
I love gas. You can throw like a tortilla shell right on the freaking burner and like toast up the tortilla shell.
Exactly.
You can't do that on electric stoves.
No, it takes forever to heat up, and then it cool down. And but the gas is like boom.
Yeah, and I mean it's hit or miss of whether or not you're going to die in your sleep because of a gas leak.
Right?
I mean,
yeah, you can heat your house with it.
Yes, that too.
But I mean, with the Draco, my oven still worked.
Right.
Electricity was gone. I turned on the gas, took a match, and boom.
Well, yeah, it's like we've talked several times. Like, eventually, this grid's gonna fail.
Yeah.
It's going to, whether it's hackers or whether it's like an EMP or whether it just decides to shit the bed because it sucks.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out, and the gas stoves will keep us somewhat alive. It'll keep the house heat. Like, you can just open your oven up, heat the house a little bit. You can. I mean, I remember doing that in a house that the heat just wouldn't keep up, just turning on the gas stove and opening up and letting it like heat up a little bit. It was probably not a smart idea, but it kept me warm. It seemed smart at the time.
And you're still here.
Yeah, I am still here to talk about it. But it's like, not to be a conspiracy theorist about this, but it's like they're taking away every opportunity you have of some sort of self-sustainment. Because you had sent me a video from TikTok. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking about, well, kind of like with electric cars. Like, electric cars are also smart cars, where they're trying to pass laws where they put the kill switch in the smart cars. Well, we're really close to all appliances being smart appliances, like your fridge and electric stoves. Well, you can't make a gas smart stove because it's gas. So they take away that control over your own self-sustainment by only, like, it starts with the gas stoves, and then next year, what's it going to be? It's like every home has to have these high-efficiency stoves, which obviously are going to be smart stoves, which they can probably shut off. If you decide to go against the grain or someone's like, well, not only are you not driving your car, but your stove's not going to work today, and your fridge ain't going to work tomorrow, and don't get me started on your washer and dryer. Do you want dirty clothes, smelly socks? Nobody wants smelly socks, Bill.
No, definitely not.
So,
and thanks for pointing that out.
Yes. Hint, Bill. Wash your fucking socks.
So there was an article in Zero Hedge that talked about this, and talked about there's been a lot of articles in Europe and over here that have been talking about poor, like, inside air quality, and they're blaming these gas stoves for the poor
obviously
inside air quality. And so they're talking about having to put like smart air purifiers in houses and regulate the air quality in people's houses.
Open your goddamn windows.
Right?
Go outside once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're talking about poor inside air quality, but a year or two ago it was like, shut yourself in your house, seal up all your air intakes and stuff because COVID is going to kill you. But put yourself in this petri dish.
They're talking about these being the reason why COVID has not gone away.
Gas stoves?
Yes, creating the poor air quality in homes.
No.
Yes. I'm serious. And they're saying they're linking it to heart attacks, they're linking it to cancer. And so, yes.
Of course. Obviously, that's the problem with heart attacks.
Yes.
People have been cooking on
gas stoves.
People have been cooking on gas for centuries, but that's leading to a high increase in heart attacks right now. Yes, that's obviously it.
Yeah.
So this one's from Zero Hedge. It says, lawmakers warn that gas stove bans would eliminate affordable cooking methods. Well, no shit. Lawmakers, particularly on the Republican side of the aisle, are continuing to voice their opposition to the idea of a ban on gas stoves. Have you seen all the memes about this? There's like the don't tread on me, and it has like a stove.
Yeah.
Or like there's one that it's got like electric stove. It's like typical hunting stove, and then a gas stove. It's like assault stove.
Yeah. Did you see the one with the it was the this is your brain on drugs, and it had the egg, and it said you can't get the eggs, you can't get the stove, the drugs are actually the only thing you can get.
I mean, it's not wrong. Thanks to the Mexican cartels, that's why we need war.
Right?
Concerns about gas stove bans have risen after a recent study linked their use to childhood asthma, and after U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission Richard Trumka Jr. discussed regulating gas stoves in recent interviews with Bloomberg News. This is a hidden hazard, Trumka told Bloomberg. Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. In a Wednesday press statement, the new chairwoman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers, said this proposed ban is the latest example of President Biden's war on American energy. It's not about public safety. It's about telling the American people that the federal government knows best and will decide what kind of car they can drive, how they can heat their house, and now how they're allowed to cook their food for their families. In a similar comment to Fox News, Representative Claudia Tenney of New York said consumers should be able to choose how they cook their food, heat their homes, and power their cars, and they should be able to do it affordably. You know what? If this doesn't work, just fucking bring in like some wood and get like, I got a fireplace. Do you got a fireplace?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just cook over your freaking fireplace.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that's got to be great for the air quality and asthma.
Yeah, absolutely. Just close the vents and let it go.
This is a peer-reviewed research paper that was published last month in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health said about 35% of homes in the U.S. use indoor gas-powered stoves. The paper said such gas stoves use is associated with an increased risk of current asthma among children. It said about 12.7% of current children asthma cases in the U.S. are attributable to gas stove use. Based on what?
Right.
Like based on where are they getting this info?
Yeah.
I mean, all the
Who's
shit
doing the
they
studies?
pump out in the air on a regular basis, all
Yeah.
these factories and shit, all this new like GMO stuff we're putting in our bodies now, the shit they spray on the plants, the shit that they put in the freaking overly processed food.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, it's this thing that
Oh, yeah.
we've been doing
right.
for not thousands, but hundreds of years. Cooking
Yeah.
over that's obviously it. Not all
Oh,
this stuff that
absolutely. Not the shit we put in it.
yeah,
right.
not the shit that we've just recently within the last 50 years introduced to our bodies, and now all of a sudden we're seeing this uptick in all these insane sicknesses. But no, let's blame the 100, 200-year-old
Yeah.
technology instead. That
Absolutely.
makes sense.
You know what's coming up next? It's already been moving through Europe.
What's that?
A ban on charcoal grills.
You're not fucking taking my charcoal grill.
I know that is a line.
That
That
is-
is a line in the sand.
I will die on that hill. So what are you gonna cook with it? Because we can't cook with gas now.
Right.
You can't cook with charcoal in
Yeah.
the future. So what do you grill on then? Electric grills? 'Cause that's just
Yeah.
you know what another name for electric grill is? A fucking stove.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a guy with he had a camper and he had an electric grill that was hooked on the side of his camper, and he's like raving about this electric grill and shit. And I'm like, you know what electric grill is? It's just another name for a
Yeah,
stove.
you're just cooking
It's
outside,
just outside. Yes. As you know, the CPSC has broad authority under the Consumer Product Safety Act to regulate consumer products that pose an unreasonable risk of injury. We urge the Commission to protect consumers from these harmful emissions. The Commission itself expressed concerns over gas stove emissions in 1985. Since then, evidence of the danger of these emissions has only increased. So what you think of this one?
I think it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah?
They're reaching for sure. I mean, like you said, it's just another way for them to get into your house to control another aspect of your life.
Are you gonna? I mean, out of just out of spite, I just want to go buy a gas stove.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I rent this house.
Yeah.
I don't even pay for the stove, but I want to
Right.
go buy a gas stove
Yeah.
and run my own gas lines just out of spite. What
Yeah.
about gas water heaters? Because
Yeah.
a lot of water heaters are still. I think
Yeah.
our water heater's gas.
Yeah.
What about gas dryers? We have
I was
gas
gonna say,
dryers.
yes.
I mean,
yeah.
those
all that
are-
stuff would have to go.
I
Anything
would
that,
think so.
that works on natural gas. So, I mean, AOC is trying to say it links to brain damage, which explains
Oh yeah,
a lot
I
of
got that
her-
one. Yeah, she must have grew up with the gas stove. I
Yes.
think that's what she's trying to say. AOC is dragged for claiming gas stoves are linked to brain damage. It says Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez attempted to defend President Biden's proposed ban on gas stoves in a viral tweet spat Tuesday, only to be heckled herself by snarky social media users. Did you know that the ongoing exposure to NO2 from gas stoves is linked to reduced cognitive performance? The Bronx and Queens lawmaker tweeted in response to Representative Ronnie Jackson from Texas vowing to never give up his gas stove. But the Congresswoman's attempted clapback backfired as detractors, mainly politicians and conservative activists, were quick to pile on. Is this an attack on Gordon Ramsay? Joked former Arkansas state legislative candidate. Did you know it's a lot harder for the government to arbitrarily cut off access to power if you're using gas as opposed to electric? Or is that really the point? Asked Virginia Republican delegate Nick Freitas. I thought I was going to say Fuentes. I was like, oh, shit. Interesting. I don't know everything in the White House. I didn't know everything in the White House ran off gas, cracked South Carolina State Representative Matthew Lieber. So, yeah. Somebody asked, what company is paying you to say that? Crazy. Just like ongoing exposure to Washington is linked to reduced cognitive performance, which you demonstrate daily. So, I mean, she's just spewing the talking points. She doesn't have a background in freaking chemical imbalances of the brain or anything.
No, she's just got to get her 2 cents in.
I just find it funny that they attack the most benign things over health concerns, but like
not the things
processed food
is
known to cause cancer. It's known to cause like diabetes and freaking autoimmune disease and shit like that. But no war against that because there's a lot of money to be made in that. But this just is another part of the freaking green agenda.
Yeah. I had seen on our buddy Jay's Perpetual Health.
Jay Gulanello.
Yes.
Go check him out. He's smart.
Yes.
He's smarter than us. He knows things about health and shit.
He had posted like a pyramid of what the federal government now declares like safe foods. Mm-hmm. Lucky Charms comes before beef.
Yes. A big bowl full of over-processed bleached flour and processed sugar. Yeah. Yes, dehydrated marshmallows too, no less. So if there was anything healthy in the marshmallow to begin with, we sucked it out and then threw it in a bowl of more sugar and bleached flour, processed bleached flour, and then dumped a little extra sugar on top of it and then said, hey, this is much better for you
than beef.
Yes. Obviously.
That tells you where our health organizations are.
Well, it just depends on who's paying the bill, I guess. Who's fronting the bill. So, yeah, definitely listen to that information. Speaking of the war on the climate, though, Greta Thunberg made the news today. Greta Thunberg was arrested, detained. I don't know. She was apprehended by police.
Wow.
And I can't not smile about that.
No.
As much as I hate like protesters, like I would just like see her exiled from like humanity.
Right.
Just like back in the old days, they like sent you to an island to live out the rest of your years because it was that or death. It's like, you want to live, go live on that fucking island over there. I wish that upon Greta Thunberg.
Yes.
She would still find some way to annoy us all.
Can you send her to the Antarctic where she doesn't have to worry about global warming as much?
That's true. Eco warrior Greta Thunberg is detained by police at an ultra-violent climate protest. Eco warrior. That's her new accolade. She's not a climate activist. She's an eco warrior. Eco warrior, warrior Greta Thunberg was in the small German village of Lützerath days after it had already been razed to the ground. Razed to the ground. I feel like the town was tore down pretty much, but I've never heard it posed as razed to
I mean, that's like an old like Dark Ages term, like raise the village.
But it sounds like the opposite.
Yes, it does because it's
went
like
down,
raising,
not up. Yes,
was
raised to the. So she was in the small village after it had been torn to the ground to make way for a new coal mine in the area, which is interesting to me that anybody in Europe would possibly be building a new coal mine because Europe is at the forefront of the green agenda and of green energy. So why do you think first of all, why do you suppose Germany of all places is having to build a new coal mine?
Well, I think because they got fucked over with the oil line
from Russia. Yes.
And they found out that the green options don't quite work.
the green agenda is not keeping up with their needs.
No.
Climate activist Greta Thunberg has been detained by police during an anti-coal mining protest. The 20-year-old found herself being taken by officers. First of all, you got to see her. There she is.
She looks like a nihilist.
Like a what?
A nihilist. Killed them all.
I don't know what she looks like, but I hate her face. She looks like a knockoff Cabbage Patch Kid from the 80s.
She does. She does.
Like not the real ones, like
Yeah.
the off-brand ones that you find at like the Dollar Tree or something, like a
Yeah,
Dollar
where
Tree
the eyes
cabbage.
fall off easily.
Yes.
Yes.
The 20-year-old found herself being taken by officers in the German village of Lützerath. The village is under threat of being destroyed, which this says it was already razed to the
Yes.
ground, so it's not necessarily under threat
Yeah.
anymore. I feel like it's been
Yeah,
destroyed.
yeah, it's kind of threat is gone.
Yes. To make way for a new coal mine called Garsweiler II.
Is there a Gersweiler the first?
I mean, there must be. I hope so. Images from the protest show that it quickly turned violent, with pepper spray being used by officers to quell the chaos. Although Thunberg wasn't handcuffed, she was seen laughing as two heavily armored police officers wearing full-faced helmets dragged her away from the protest. Well, at least, in the very least, she was actually apprehended, unlike AOC, who, remember, put her hands behind her
that's
back
right.
to make it look like she was
Yeah.
being apprehended by the police when they were just like, no, come this way, ma'am. Come
But
walk this way.
How do we know she was arrested and was not being protected?
I mean, it's possible. It just
I
said
mean,
she was
like,
apprehended.
Yeah, maybe her parents are like, "Hey, can you make sure our little girl doesn't get hurt at this
Right.
at this raising?"
Now I did hear that a lot of climate activists are being like perma banned from Germany. I
Good.
think it was after this, and I didn't read the article to see if she was involved, but I wonder if she was perma banned. That'd be awesome.
That would be.
Speaking at protests yesterday, she said Germany is really embarrassing itself right now. I think it's absolutely absurd that this is happening in 2023. The most effective people are clear. The science is clear. We need to keep the carbon in the ground. When governments are actively destroying the environment, putting countless people at risk, then people step up. We stand together in solidarity. Despite protests, the entire town has already been cleared, with 30 homes, 35 tree structures, quote unquote, and 300 people evicted to other towns and cities. German newspaper Bild reported that since the excavations began recently, around 70 police officers have been injured, with 12 arrests. At today's protest, 9 protesters have been taken to the hospital. However, the police confirmed that no one was seriously injured.
I mean, that sounds more like bullshit than than like, "Hey, we're gonna kick you out of your house for a coal plant."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, that news kind of would piss me off a little bit more than the fact that they're actually putting a coal plant.
Yeah, she doesn't care about the people.
Yeah, fuck them.
She just cares
like-
that they're putting in coal.
At least plant a tree.
Several reports state that police used massive batons, not
Massive?
normal batons.
Damn, they
but
went massive?
They went full-blown massive
Wow.
batons. Pepper spray, water cannons, dogs, and horses. Good God. Yeah, there's some states, I mean, they probably...
It almost sounds like that police department that girl worked in.
Yes. They're massive batons. 2 activists were found hiding in an underground tunnel, which is thought to be where the new coal mine would start. Video footage from the scene appears to show police allegedly trying to kettle the peaceful protesters, of which Greta was at the front of the group of 10 or so people, into one small area. They then proceeded to surround them, with Thunberg being taken away by the 2 officers. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, no, we got to get her out of here
Yeah.
before we unleash the dogs and the fire
Exactly.
can.
We're gonna
water
kill
cannons.
everybody else, but we got to get her to safety.
Yes. When the protests first began yesterday, around 100 or so protesters were on the scene, but it now appears that the numbers have dwindled over the last 24 hours once police became involved. So, yeah, it doesn't sound like she was apprehended. It sounded like she was under some sort of protection,
Yeah.
which is
Kinda-
bullshit to me.
that
It's
is
like
bullshit.
you want to be on this, you want to get these people all riled up,
Yeah,
then you can stand there in front of the water cannons with them.
absolutely. Yes. I mean, that's how she gets street cred, right?
I would think
She
so.
needs to show up with like her hair torn out or black-eyed, missing a tooth, being like, "We still, how dare you?"
She's ugly enough. She don't need to fuck her face up anymore. All right. Not the last thing, but the next on my agenda, you had sent me this FEMA nonsense.
Yes, this one killed me.
More government equals more intelligence, right?
Yes,
Is that
that's
how
what-
that works?
I think that's the it said in that Constitution.
Is
about
that?
Yeah.
I think it's in the Bible.
Yes,
more
that may
government
too.
equals more intelligence. FEMA, one of our favorite government organizations, the ones responsible for once the shit hits the fan, they're going to throw us all in cages and shit.
Yes,
that FEMA.
They're gonna. Yes.
Yeah, that's the FEMA. FEMA, in the goodness of their heart, distributed these emergency brochures to Native Alaskans.
Yes.
Like, they're like, hey, we're going to hand these out, these emergency brochures. Did it say in here, like, what these
Yeah, there was
involved?
like a typhoon that hit
Okay.
the coast.
Okay, so it's like, hey, we need to warn these Native Alaskans because they've never experienced a typhoon before.
Yeah, they don't
may
know,
not know
how bad the weather might get.
They don't know what to expect here.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what nasty weather is like.
Yes.
They haven't been here for thousands of years.
Right. Yes.
They haven't survived, I don't know, modern humanity.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Right.
I mean, yeah.
So it's a good thing we're here to help.
Yeah, let us help you.
Yes.
So they distributed these emergency brochures, and apparently whoever was in charge of translating to Native Alaskan really shit the bed.
Yes.
Like hard.
It was like the kid from Goonies translating to the Hispanic maid.
FEMA hired a California government contractor to translate disaster assistance information into 2 Native Alaskan languages, but all it and the natives got was a big heap of nonsense. Bill's current events segment, FEMA. After a typhoon hammered the west coast of Alaska in September, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, hired a Berkeley-based company, Accent on Languages, to translate instructions for applying for disaster aid. FEMA quickly turned the company's work into trifold glossy brochures that left Native Alaskans utterly perplexed as they encountered phrases such as, "Your husband is a polar bear, Skinny." I mean, if I saw that in a brochure, I'd immediately take heed.
What the fuck?
Warning, your husband's a polar bear. Oh, shit. Number 2, tomorrow he will go hunting Alaska very early and will bring nothing.
That sounds like a warning to me. I'd want to know that.
Number 3, when she said so, the dog ran farther off from the curtain. Now I've taken Spanish classes and stuff, like Spanish 1 and 2, and I went and visited Spanish country. Like, I went to Cuba,
Yeah.
I've been to Mexico and stuff, and I could barely speak, but it was kind of like toddlers trying to talk.
Yeah.
But I could
It's like,
at
I
least,
know that word. I know that word.
Well, yeah, but I could at least get
Yeah.
my point across slightly. I
Yes.
mean, they would chuckle or giggle at your accent, or if you said something wrong,
Yeah.
and they would correct you, and they'd give you shit for it and stuff. But at least there was some kind of point there. They knew there was a point there.
Yeah.
Now, these are Berkeley-trained professionals.
Yes. Yes.
Trained in the arts of translation. What are they trying to say? Like, there's nothing fucking close to this that sounds like, hey, there's a typhoon, or there was like, here, come apply for this. Your husband is a polar bear, Skinny. Like, how do you fuck up that bad?
Right?
I feel like I could, I don't know, watch a YouTube video on Native Alaskan. I could come up with something closer than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
University of Alaska Fairbanks linguist Gary Holton says one of the translations is a random assortment of phrases copied from a compilation of Far Eastern Russian folklore. Yupik Eskimo texts from the 1940s. So they're like, here's a book, and this is to help you translate. Like, look at this book. Here's the Eskimo or whatever. They call it Eskimo, not me. I can say, I still say Eskimo.
Okay.
Here's the Eskimo. Here's the English version. Use this to kind of help translate some basic words. So he just copy and pasted the book, the Russian folklore Eskimo book, and put it in the brochure. He's like, well, he said use this to come up with my...
And the word seemed close.
They clearly just grabbed the words from the document and then just put them in some random order and gave something that looked like Yupik but made no sense. He summed up that the work as a word salad. That's not even a word salad.
No,
That's a
no.
word bowl of shit.
Yes.
In a publicly posted letter, Accent on Language's CEO Carolyn Lee said her firm will reimburse FEMA's $5,116.
Oh, well, that's why they only paid $5,000.
Yeah, they probably bid it out.
Yeah.
To the cheapest bidder. They're like, oh, you guys are linguists. It's like,
Yeah.
have you ever spoke Eskimo?
No.
I didn't even know Eskimo was a language. It's part of the United States. Don't they speak English?
Right? Yeah, by now.
We make no excuses for erroneous translations. This is not an erroneous. This is not a translation.
Right?
This is you just like it got to the deadline. They're like, oh fuck, they're not gonna read it anyway.
Shit.
Just throw some.
Yeah.
This looks Eskimo enough. Here, nobody's gonna read this shit.
They're just gonna see government and run anyways.
Yes. We deeply regret any inconvenience this has caused for the local community. Lee said when the horrifying botched translations came to her attention, her company hired a new team of translators to do the project over again. FEMA has fired the company. Gee, I wonder why. It's like, guys, we're going to, don't worry. I know we screwed up, and this is bad optics and everything. Not on just us, but also on you, and we accept responsibility. We're going to give you our best linguistics now.
Right.
Now we're gonna set aside the B team, C, D team, whatever. We're gonna bring in the A team this time as a favor to you.
Yes.
Shannon says, "Did you get to the real parts of Cuba? They tend to keep foreigners out of the impoverished areas." No, I did go to a lot of the impoverished areas. I went with a church on a missions trip back in the day. And we stayed with this family, and they actually, did take us out of Havana and took us to, like, the shitty parts. And, it's shitty. And I heard a pig being slaughtered directly next door. Not only heard, but smelled the pig being slaughtered directly next door. But, yeah, we got to see a lot of the shitty parts. And, it was really – and that was back in 2004, okay. I think. So, I don't know if it's shittier now or better now, but it was pretty shitty. We did get out of the I guess you could call fancier sections of Cuba, though. Let's keep going. Former Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs. Like, why are we still calling this? Like, we can't say the word Indian.
Yeah, right.
But the government can call it Secretary of Indian Affairs.
Yes. Well, because then they'd have to change all their letterhead.
That's true, too. Come up with new acronyms.
Exactly.
Come up with new email
so
signatures.
Yes.
Everything. So much to change. They're already having a hard enough time printing brochures. Can you imagine the task that the overbearing task it would take to change all the letterheading on all the brochures?
Right? Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Former Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs, Tara Sweeney, wants more than a reimbursement, saying the company is guilty of fraud.
Yeah?
You could say that.
Yeah.
If they defrauded the government or FEMA, fucking great.
Yeah.
I commend this company, this private company, for defrauding FEMA.
Right.
If they're going to defraud anybody, at least let it be FEMA.
Right, because, they kind of deserve a fair about.
Yes.
Turnabout is good turn.
Yeah,
Man,
what goes around comes around. Is that what you're trying? George Bush.
Yes.
George Bush over
I
there.
am George Bush tonight.
You can't come around to what goes around if you never come around.
With the gynecologists with their love for women.
God. You can't fool the fool.
Twice.
And you can't put a price on the impact of denying services to vulnerable communities because of misinformation. I was thinking that too. It's like, now, let's just get past the fact that this massive fuck up. It's like, bad shit happened there.
Right.
And this is supposed to be a group of people that's just like, hey, you guys are in a lot of danger and really dangerous circumstance, or like there's no food and shit. Here, this is how you can save yourselves. Except instead they got, your husband is a polar bear skinny. Right. Did people die because of misinformation or not even?
They couldn't get food or housing or shelter
because of
Alaska.
This poor like shitty service that they got from this linguist brochure. It's just like, well, I think more than the $5,000 reimbursement should be applied here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Said you can't. Said you can't put a price on the impact of denying service to vulnerable communities because of misinformation. The grandstanding Sweeney even called for congressional hearings.
Damn.
Now, I don't know that I would go that far, because that just means us spending more fucking money on pointless nothing shit and committees being formed for port. Who translates that?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and the people up there, they don't give a shit. They just want to get back on their feet.
Mm-hmm. it says, goes on to say, we wonder if accent on languages was itself a victim of fraud on the part of whomever assigned to do the original translation. Do you remember? It's probably 6 months ago, I think, a year ago. I don't know. There was a sign language person.
Yes.
I what was that on? Was it like a public speaker, or was it like on the news, or what?
I think it was on the news, and it was somebody that was supposed to translate for, was it for like a politician visiting a country? It was in Africa, I think.
Okay.
And the person ended up like,
the person did not know sign language at all.
Yeah, right.
He just like,
was making shit up. It's almost like they just pulled somebody on stage.
Do they vet these people? Like when you apply for any job, you have to like somehow demonstrate your qualifications.
Yeah.
You would think translation would be one of the easiest qualifications to demonstrate.
I mean, most phones do a lot of the languages.
It's like I know Eskimoese or whatever the Inuit language is up there. I don't know. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. He knows Eskimoese.
You're hired.
Come on. It's like, can you speak some Eskimo? He's like, Chewbacca, Chupacabra. It's like, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
You're hired.
Yes.
But he was probably thinking that no one has had to translate Inuit in like 50 years.
This is gonna be a gravy job.
This is cake.
I'm gonna sit on my ass, watch YouTube videos,
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, where's our Eskimo guy?
Right.
Eskimo guy, get over here. He's like, oh fuck.
Shit. Okay, here's Russian
So he starts
folklore.
He starts googling Eskimo books. That's the one he comes up with. Nobody's gonna read it anyway.
Right?
It's like I honestly thought there were no more Eskimos in the world when I took this job. Shannon says, pretty sure it's shittier. I'm guessing she's referring to Cuba or the Eskimo language. I don't know. One or the other. It goes on to say, Associated Press presented the fiasco as new evidence of systemic racism.
Oh, brother.
Now we're just getting fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, this is just stupidity.
Yeah.
This is not evidence of systemic racism. This is evidence of like government incompetency when it comes, because government always outsources to the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
And gets charged out the ass for it.
Yeah.
And this is evidence of government incompetency.
Exactly.
This is why governments shouldn't be handling the emergency response. This is not evidence of systemic racism.
Exactly.
Says it's an ugly reminder for the Alaskan natives of this suppression of their culture and languages from decades past, and quoted Sweeney as she linked the bogus translations to her mother being beaten in school for speaking her native tongue. Now we did talk about that, like the Canadian schools and stuff. So I can see kind of where they're going with this, but again, government fuck up across the board.
Yeah.
Like so many government contractors with ownership and leadership optimized for affirmative action-driven contract awards, Accent on Language touts itself as a female minority-owned business.
Well, there you go.
Who fucking cares? Like,
that
why
makes a
did we
difference.
close the Why? Like, that's the last...
close it with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's like, well...
That change your mind on anything?
Maybe Zero Hedge is just being...
a dick.
Sarcastic about it, or being like pointing out the fact that maybe they only hired Vice President Kamala Harris. Yeah. This company was only hired because it's a female minority owned business,
right? Not
because of any qualifications of any sort, sort of like Kamala Harris, but because she's female or they're female and minorities.
Yeah. Or like the gun person for Alec Baldwin, right? Mm-hmm. They hired him on because she had no experience with those, but she checked the boxes.
I mean, what's worse though, being hired to translate Inuit with no qualifications because you're a female minority, or being told to like handle this firearm in public because you're a female minority. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. People probably died in both cases. I don't know.
Right?
Maybe we should have qualified people, like quality based hires, not checking off the boxes because just holding up. I feel like they have swatches from like Sherwin-Williams paint swatches. They're just like, no. Yeah, you're good. Well, you do speak Alaskan, right? No. Well,
But you can
you're
learn,
extra.
right?
You're an extra shade of brown. So we'll
Yeah.
give you a shot. We'll
Yeah.
give you a fair shot.
We have some old Russian folklore books that seem pretty close.
Yeah, just
so
read these.
Just go with that. Yeah.
Oh man, out of all these, what's the most important here? What's the biggest news?
Oh boy.
Was it
Yeah, I
the
think
MLK or the Boston Black Hawk statue? Here, I'll pull it. I mean, this just speaks to
Yeah.
minorities around the world.
Absolutely. Yes.
Was it our favorite police officer?
Yes.
The police officer of the year? We had
Excellent service.
Greta Thunberg and her
She's
Cabbage
always
Patch
fun.
doll face.
Yeah, she's always fun.
Or the stoves.
I gotta go with the stoves.
This ain't the stove.
I think
Is it
it's
stove? Yeah, the stoves.
yeah. I think it's they're gonna start overreaching more. I think, and this is just evidence of that. So
Yeah, it's like, well, what's the big fucking deal? It's just a gas stove. I mean, only 30% of the people still
Right.
use gas. It's like, just like with certain gun
Mm.
bans. Like, the ATF came out this week and said no more arm braces on pistols. Those are now illegal, and if they find one you have that's not registered, you get jail time for that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not comparing stoves with guns, but it starts in one spot,
Yeah,
and then it just gets worse. Like, hey, we got to regulate the style of munitions, or the magazine capacity, or the arm brace, or the big black scariness of it. And yes, I'm talking about firearms, not the police officers
or the statue.
or the statue. Yeah, or the amount, the size of the round. Like,
Right.
it just will progressively get more and more. Now it starts with, hey, we're gonna regulate what by the year 2030, you're only gonna be able to sell electric cars.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to only let you sell gas or electric stoves as well. And we're going to get rid of charcoal grills.
Right.
And your furnaces, they got to be high-efficiency
Yeah.
furnaces with these smart thermostats on them, because only the smart thermostats can save the environment. The old dumb thermostats, they also contribute to brain cancer and asthma. The dumb
and
thermostats.
you have to convert your fireplace over to electric.
Oh yeah, electric fireplaces. What the fuck's an electric fire? Is that just a space heater?
Yeah, basically.
You
But
know,
it looks
the
nice.
The things that catch your house on fire more often than a fireplace does.
Right.
Oh yeah, and by the way, all of those have to be on smart systems too.
Yeah.
So if times get hard, we can tone those down a bit
Right,
for
exactly.
you.
You're using too much carbon. We're gonna have to shut down some of your systems.
Right. So
Yeah.
So that's the world we have to look forward to.
Yeah.
I mean, first we regulate police officers having orgies at the police
Right.
station, then it turns into whatever.
Right.
It's
Yeah. Hey, if it makes my police officers more efficient, let it happen.
communism.
Right. Right.
Fucking communism.
I was gonna mention to you. Did you see who's the Oh gosh, he's a comedian. He was recently in the Eternals, Marvel Eternals. Is it New Job? Yeah, I don't know. He was the comedian, got like really built for this Marvel role.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
No, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, okay, I haven't either. But if you saw a picture of the guy, you know him. Anyways, he's complaining because he wants to play a villain, and he says Hollywood will not let people of color play villains anymore in movies.
So
Yeah.
So now we got to make all of the. We got to put all the minorities in the main roles, which is fine if you're starting to now, kind of like with the vice president of the United States. If you're only giving them that job because they're a person of color, but they're a shitty actor, then I don't agree with that. But the fact that they're diversifying to allowing more minorities play some of these lead roles is fine. But now they're like, but we don't want minorities playing the bad guys. It's like, wait, I want to be a bad guy.
Right.
No, we don't. We're doing this. Trust me, we're doing this for you.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be, but I
because
do want to
people
be a bad
look
guy.
at you negatively then.
But I want to be a bad guy. I am a bad guy. I'm a badass. I want to be a bad guy.
Right.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. And those are usually the roles that are more fun to watch, are the bad
And probably
guys.
fun to play, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah,
It's ridiculous.
it is ridiculous.
This whole world's going to shit.
It is.
I mean, it's a good thing we're back doing the weekend wrap-up so we can realize how much the world's going to shit.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have for this episode. It's good to be back, though. It's great to be back. Make sure you check us out far and wide all over social medias, like we say. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun, happy shit we tell you to do every single week, because that's how we get our name out there. That's how we can become bigger and better, or at least bigger. Maybe not better, but bigger.
And we'll get better there eventually.
Eventually.
We got to. It's been 3 years.
It's true. Share us far and wide. Make sure you show up. Tomorrow night is our main live episode. I think we're going to talk about some classified documents being found in people's homes, and not
Really?
Mar-a-Lago either.
No?
Talking
With Corvettes?
Yeah, like
Nice.
certain current presidents of the United States with their shithead crackhead son renting out some of these houses for upwards of $50,000 a month.
Wow.
Of the same houses that these classified documents were found in, too. So, it's not October, so I don't know why we're even talking about this.
Yeah, a couple months late.
It's not an October surprise, so I don't know why we're even bringing this up. But I think that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So
Sounds good.
make sure you show up tomorrow night for that live episode. It's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, just like every Monday night, the same time, same channel. Otherwise, Tuesdays and Thursdays, most of them, whenever we feel like. Me and my brother, Dan Smots of the System is Down podcast, do the Two Scoops morning show where we just shoot the shit for 20 minutes. Just start your morning off right with us in your ears, because what else are you going to do? What else is better than that? It's
Definitely
better than
work.
Folgers, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Make sure you check that out. 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, if we feel like it, which lately we've been kind of shitting the bed on that. So
You're still coming out of the whole holiday
it's
thing,
true.
and
It's
so-
taken a lot. So
Exactly.
make sure you wake us up to do that and come join us. Otherwise, be back here next weekend for the weekend wrap up, or just find us all over the place. Share us far and wide.
Everywhere.
Have a great rest of your weekend, whatever's left of it. We will catch you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back, because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.